up till this point, most of us understand that we need to do something, we need to talk with, there should be education. But from this point onwards, the confusion starts. What kind of education? What is it that we should actually emphasize? And in that regard, I want to highlight, or try to explain these two words that we often use, sometimes use interchangeably. And I again want you to reflect on these two terms. You can tell me by typing whether you think there is a difference between the word sex and sexuality, or you want to write what does the word sex means, or what is the difference. Just reflect for 30 seconds and you can just type in your response. Most of us feel that there is a difference. Sexuality is more comprehensive, more broader. So let's look at some of this, which is absolutely right. So you can click the, yeah. So when we say sex, or when we refer to sex, we're mostly referring to body part, or a act, or mostly the biological and physical aspect of sex. But when we talk about sexuality, we are talking about much more comprehensive idea, or something that defines we as humans, including our thoughts, fantasies, desires, beliefs, attitude, gender roles, sexual identities, how we express it. So much more comprehensive aspect of sexuality. So it's not just a narrow part of sex. And this understanding this distinction is very important. I mean, one might ask, next slide, that okay, what is the big difference whether we call it sex or we call it sexuality? How does it going to make a difference? But there is a big difference, because what we call would determine what is it that we are focusing on when we are talking about education. For example, if we agree that sex is more biological, physical part of it, sex education would entail that we are focusing more on the physical aspect of it. So more like focusing on promoting condom use, unprotected sex, or contraceptions, HIV, and diseases part of it. But if we believe that sexuality, or if we recognize that sexuality is much broader, includes so many different aspects, then sexuality education would also include education on different aspects, right? And comprehensive sexuality education would mean even much more comprehensive approach to sexuality. We're going to see what that approach is. But I think this naming of, for example, you might be knowing about these names: life skill education or family life education, where you clearly see that there is an effort to avoid using the word sex or sexuality when linking it with education, to basically avoid the stigma that comes with the sex. But if we believe that we need to talk about it, and we need to openly talk about it, I think it's a high time that we should also call spade a spade. So let's call sexuality education a sexuality education. I hope the difference between sex education and sexuality education is clear with the slide.